CJRB EDC back again with another knife video. This is the CJRB Centros and CJRB Talla. This is just a quick first impressions video. I got a bunch of new knives in, a bunch of budget knives, and we're going to be doing some giveaways at some point with some of them, not all of them, so don't get overly excited, but you should get excited that we're going to be doing some giveaways. But in the meantime, let me just give you some first impressions of these two knives. Now, the first one is the Talla. I believe this is an in-house design. This is in D2 steel. Most of their line is in D2 steel, and most of their line comes in at around $35, which for the budget conscious is an even better value than Civivi gives you. And Civivi has sort of been the king of the budget world since they were released. Civivi, of course, being a division, the budget line of WE Knives. So CJRB is the budget line for artisan cutlery, which is another Chinese brand that sort of burst on the scene with some really good stuff, just like WE Knives did a few years ago. Rayot and Best Tech is starting to turn over some really good knives as well. So with the Talla, these are both about 3.5 inches, I believe. The Talla is the Wharncliffe, and the CJRB has this nice spear point blade. It's a thin spear point, and this is the Dylan Mallory design. You can see his maker's mark there, and this is also D2. Now this is a thumb stud knife, some thumb stud only opening knife. This is a flipper, and you can see the flipper tab there with the hole in it. Not really sure what the hole's for. I've seen that on a few knives. I don't think it's weight relief. Doesn't make much sense to do it that way, but it could just be a design aesthetic thing. I did get this one in the G10 and this one in the carbon fiber just to see what the difference between the two materials are, and so I'll just go through and we'll do individual reviews of these knives at some later date. But for now, first of all, with the Centros, I can really see why everyone is so impressed with the Centros. It's a really slim carry. It's got this nice deep carry pocket clip. Very little sticks up, as you can see out of the top. The screws are not recessed, so it's a little bit of a knock against it. It has this, if you look here, that's a lanyard tube, and it rotates around in a circle. It's free spinning. Although it's not completely free spinning, it has some, tension on it, but it's really good because you can hide the lanyard there, and it's a good, sort of compromise between the crowd that doesn't like the lanyards and the crowd that does like the lanyards. The pivot hardware is pretty plain. It's got 2 other standoffs otherwise, and that's pretty much all that's holding the knife together. It is a liner lock, like I said, thumb stud. I was a little bit apprehensive of getting a thumb stud with a liner lock. Thumb stud opening knife with a liner lock. I thought it was going to be a little weird, but honestly, this thing, the action on this is incredible. I'm so impressed with the action on this. It pretty much free drops with very little friction whatsoever, and this one free drops way better than this one, despite the extra weight on the blade. So that's really, really something to behold. I also think this feels great in the hand ergonomically. I'm very happy with the way this comes in the hand, and the jimping on here is quite nice up here as well. The thumb studs are easy to deploy. They don't give you any problems, and the detent is dialed in perfectly. You've got perfect centering as well. So the G10 on here is nice and grippy. You can hear it, and that's great for, it's not going to slip out of your hand. And I did get 2 other budget knives. I'll bring them out real quick because we're going to compare some materials. This is the Civivi Praxis, and this is the Civivi Backlash in carbon fiber with the black blade. Now, if you look at the 2 G10s here, you can see the G10 is a lot more aggressive on the CJRB than on the Civivi Praxis, but both are pretty grippy, and I have no complaints about either one. As for the carbon fiber on this one, this is extremely smooth. It feels like a carbon fiber laminate. It could be full carbon fiber, but for the price, I doubt it. But it's extremely smooth and even possibly a little cheap feeling for what I normally would think of as carbon fiber, whereas the carbon fiber on the Civivi Backlash feels a little bit more premium. And you can see here some of the cutout marks, and so this may be a laminate also with some G10 underneath. I'm not quite certain, but the carbon fiber on top feels a little bit more matte grippy and a little more premium than this one. So that's something to keep in mind. If I had this to do over again, I'd probably prefer this in the G10 rather than carbon fiber, even though I usually prefer carbon fiber over G10. So those are just some quick notes on that. The detent is also great on this one, on the Talla. I like Wharncliffe blades. Probably it's my favorite blade shape or something close to it. Again, the pocket clip's great. This one is even a deeper carry than the other one. Just disappears completely in the pocket. Again, no recessed screws, so that's a little bit of a knock on it. There's no lanyard hole this time. If you want a lanyard, you could probably, well, I'm sorry, there is a lanyard hole. There's a lanyard hole here, so it is exposed. The lanyard hole is exposed on this one. There's no lanyard hole in the tube here, so that's something that you have to contend with, looks-wise, if you're not into lanyards. Again, both of these are liner locks. The liner locks do have secure lockup, and they don't feel as cheap as I expected them to do or to feel. They feel actually pretty good for the price range, so pretty happy about that. Again, this is D2. You got a little bit of a finger choil here. It is a usable finger choil, which is great. Feels very comfortable. You got a little bit of a thumb indentation there that also feels good. So overall, I think the ergonomics on this are pretty good. Just one thing to note, there is no jimping up top on the Talla, so just something to be aware of. If you are a person who likes jimping, you should be aware of that. Also, it's even more reason why, if you're going to get this one, to probably go with the G10. Because the G10, again, is a little bit more grippy, and you got to have grip somewhere on the knife. So the action on this, again, is extremely smooth. This one's a little bit stiffer action than the Centros, despite the heavier blade. The D10's dialed in pretty perfectly on this, and I do like the flipper action on this. It's quite nice. So as far as just a quick size, a lot of people are familiar with the backlash. I don't know why I opened that with two hands. I know why, because some of the other knives I got recently, and I'll give you a sneak preview of one of the other knives I got. This is why I'm opening it with two hands, GEC oil jack slip joint. So I've gotten used to using the slip joint a little bit, but that'll be another video. And this is the Praxis, just to give you, again, another quick size comparison on these. So these are all medium-sized knives with excellent blade length and handle length, and very happy with them. I'll go ahead and leave you guys till next time. Go ahead and like the video, leave a comment, subscribe to the channel, and hit that notification bell so you get all of my content. Thanks so much for watching.